All right, so this is a speaker meeting. Our speaker will share her experience, strength, and hope for approximately 45 minutes. And we ask out of respect for our speaker to please remain seated until she has finished. It is my pleasure to introduce Lucy.
Hi, you guys. No, that's not really how I talk. My name is Lucy. I'm an alcoholic. I'm also a drug addict, but when I'm in an AA meeting, I identify as an alcoholic out of respect for the traditions and the program of Alcoholics Anonymous. And also because I had a really mean sponsor. Her name was Margot, and she was, can you say the 4-letter D word here? A dyke. She was really big, and she like held me up, and I felt like a cartoon, and she was holding me up in the back coffee room, and she goes, "God damn it, Lucy, don't you come in this meeting and identify as an addict alcoholic. One day you're going to be looking in the mirror and you're going to feel so different that you're just going to go fucking drink." And I was like, "Oh, okay, Margot." And then I asked her too, I said, one time, because she had 10 years, and I thought, oh my God, I want 10 years. And I asked her I said, "Why are you always saying the F word? Every time you share, you always say," she goes, "God damn it, Lucy. Sometimes that's the only thing the fucking newcomer can hear." I'm like, "Okay, Margot, you know." But, yeah, you know, it kind of sucks. I should have like 3x5 cards so I have some kind of structure, but like, who knew Margot would come up? I lived with a porn star who, she had 6 years sober, and I was at a dinner, and where I got sober, everybody goes out to eat after the meeting, and I was sitting at a table with like 11 people, mostly guys, and I thought to myself, I wish I had a girlfriend, you know, I wish I just, not like that. I thought, I wish I had a friend, you know. I had 11 months sober, and I think we were at Swingers or something on Melrose, and I'm not a swinger. And I thought, God, I wish I had oh yeah, we were at Denny's. And I thought, God, I wish I had a girlfriend, you know. And that was one of my super significant prayers in my life. Just that simple, fleeting. I've had about 5 of like that, which may come up or may not, because I don't know what's coming next. So turn your fucking phone off, please. And was that politically correct? Anyway, so I said that prayer, not knowing it's a prayer, because I only had 11 months. I don't even know how to pray yet, really. Well, I did hear it's more about saying thank you than begging for stuff. But anyway, I said that, and then all of a sudden at my noon meeting, this chick showed up, and she had really long blonde hair, and like you could see her boobs from the back. They were so big. And they were so big that when she was jogging in Malibu, she would fall forward on her face because she was like top heavy. And I remember one day she was wearing like a white mini skirt and a white jacket, and she was all squeezed up in there, and she walked up to the podium in her heels, and she said, "My agent thinks that I'm too fat," and I don't know, and the guys are thinking, "You're not too fat, baby." And the girls are like, "You fucking bitch, I fucking hate her, and she's got 6 years, fucking bitch." And so I gave her my number, and because before I got sober, I had a girlfriend, and her name was Kim, and she had big hair, and she had a big shirt, and she overdosed and died at on Hollywood Boulevard at the Seven Seas bar, and she overdosed, and So then this new chick walked in, and you know, I gave her my number, and I gave her my number a few times, and then she finally called me, and we became friends, and I kept bringing her guys, and she would just take all her clothes off right there and do it that first night. And she wanted a boyfriend. I said, you can't have a boyfriend if you're going to get naked every time that they show up for the first date. That's not going to work, Kim. And all right, I'll bring you another one. And I would set her up with somebody else. And Lucy, I'm sorry. Okay, well, can we get rid of the magazines and the play toys? Maybe put them in a different room, not on the coffee table. Maybe that'll help. And she's got 6 years sober, and she was awesome. And she would always go, Lucy, what are you grateful for? You know, what are you grateful for? And, you know, the last time I spoke here, I left the meeting and I had to pull over down the road by Peregrine, and I just started crying because it's very vulnerable up here, especially because I'm very stream of consciousness, and whatever's going to come out comes out. And so I go on all these trips from my whole life of sobriety and before. So I'm hoping I get home and everything's okay. But anyway, happy birthday to everyone that is celebrating a birthday. 5 years, that was a really creepy time for me. That's when I realized I'm a control freak, and you know, what is it? 24 years later, I'm still a fucking control freak, whatever. And welcome to the new people. You're new in your first year. If you have a year, you're new. Just be new and fucking deal with it, okay? And you know, I think about when I first got here, and my vocabulary was much worse. My Tourette's was much worse, but I'm really a work in progress, I'll tell you. And some of the stuff that I think is so important in the early days of our sobriety, which it's also important in the later days too, but it's extra important in the beginning because, you know, we get here and we're bombarded with this whole new language, all these new words like grateful and relationship and honesty and you know, being accountable, just all this new shit. And it's like I never was really thinking of much, but you know, like every time the phone rings, I think, oh my God, does somebody want an ounce? Because I was a pot dealer, and every time that phone rings, I think somebody's calling to buy something, and it's been a long time. I still get nervous with the cops, but I think, if, you know, like in the back it says, you know, honesty, open-mindedness, and willingness. These are all really important back in the spiritual experience section, which is an awesome section, and it's only about 2 or 3 pages in the beautiful big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. And if you read that, you'll just be falling asleep when you get to the Herbert Spencer quote, which he didn't really write, but that's another topic. And, you know, but that whole thing about the gratitude when we're new, and I guess when I got sober, we had ceramic cups and ashtrays. I'm so fucking sober. But, you know, I had to put a list of things I'm grateful for, right? And then do a list of some things that I wanted. And, you know, it was really hard for me to be grateful when I got here because my dad died, and I was a fucking homeless slut with a car that was donated to me by my ex-boyfriend named Max Bangwell. He was a drummer. He had really good pot, and he lived in a condemned house in East LA. And he let me put up a plaster of Paris wall. It was 75 pounds of plaster of Paris, and it was only as big as these two signs, that wall. It was a really big. But, and the gratitude when I got here, in my car, it was he gave me that car. It was like a Ford Fairlane and I don't even remember, Galaxy or some shit. It was like two cars that were soldered together. He drilled them together, and then there was no lid on the roof. And, my dad would catch me doing the dishes, and he'd say, "Oh, honey, you don't need to do the dishes. Your little hands are so beautiful, princess. You don't need to do the dishes. Don't worry, one day you'll do a lot of dishes." And there I was in Santa Monica meeting, fucking washing dishes. And I thought, oh my God, Daddy was right. I'm doing all these fucking dishes, And so, it was really hard to be grateful for anything because I was homeless, and I always had everything, anything I wanted, within means, and and everything I needed, But then here I am, and I'm a dirty alcoholic. Daddy's dead. I blew the insurance money. My mom and I'm not going to use the C word just for you. My mom and my evil sister forged the will and took a whole bunch of money and whatever. And, I'm on my way to AA. And I get here, and then they're wanting me to be grateful. And I'm thinking, I really, really don't have anything to be grateful for, because my mom and my sister just totally fucked me over. And my dad died. And I have this stupid fucking car that I had to park at the meeting next to Tom Arnold's fucking Rolls Royce. And I'm wearing lime green tennis shoes with a fucking hole in them, and my nail polish is all chipped. What the fuck do I have to be grateful for, And so my list looks something like, even though my nail polish is totally chipped, at least I have 10 fingers and 10 toes. Even though my car is really two cars with no lid on the trunk, and it's totally filthy, filled with Del Taco wrappers. Thank God I have a car. And so on and so on. I mean, it's so hard to be grateful when we're new. And our whole life seems to have been just totally turned to shit. And even though I was supposed to be a movie star, I don't have the answer for that. But, and then I had to do that. Well, and I will say, my gratitude list today is just, it's awesome. I learned so much from doing that in the early days, And what I learned also through that gratitude list is that, I can change my mind. And I never got that for many years. When you can start your day over anytime you want. I was like, fuck you, I am mad, and I'm going to be mad for the rest of the week. So I don't even know why you're even saying that. I don't even know what that's supposed to mean. But I find that through the gratitude, I can change can change the way I feel, you know. And I mean, when it comes down to it, I just want to feel happy, joyous, and free. That's just all I want, you know. And I think that's all most of us want, unless we're psychotic assholes and we just want to, whatever. But I find that if I'm not in the best of places, if I kind of focus on what's good in my life and what I can be grateful about, then I can kind of change my state of mind, you know, which helps. Or sometimes I just want to be pissed off, so I don't go there, you know. If I just want to be mad, then I'll just be mad, and I don't have to focus on anything good in my life, you know. I can be defiant like a newcomer. My first sponsor, his name is Reese. I call him Rita. And everybody else in the program called him the 3-letter F word. And they called him cock blocker because he always had a little harem of new chicks around him. And that first meeting I went to, and I parked right next to that fucking white Rolls Royce in my dirty white car. And I wasn't gonna go to my car because everybody was coming out of the meeting. So I sat on the curb, feeling sorry for myself in my see-through dress because I didn't know I was supposed to wear a slip yet. It was pathetic. Anyway, I never realized why I got fired from the Hamburger Hamlet on Sunset. It was because I was wearing that see-through dress, and I was the hostess. How many in your party? You know, like, follow me this way. But this dude walked up, and he walks like this. He like rolls off his feet, you know, like he's rolling, and he's super tall, and he looks kind of like a bird. And he came over, and I'm sitting there feeling sorry for myself, which is, you know, it's justified. When we're new, we should feel sorry for ourselves for like a week, and then get on with the solution, please. And he gave me his phone number, and I put it in my Marlboro Menthol Light 100 pack. And I called him that night like a good newcomer. Good newcomers use the phone numbers, and they call people, and they get off their phone during the meeting. If you're on your phone, will you please turn it off or go outside? Because I'm very sensitive to that. Please, I beg you. Nothing's more important than me right now. Which reminds me that, oh, my angel's here. You can see my angel? Anyway, I forgot what I was saying. Where was I? Whose kid is that? Whose kid is that? Can somebody control their child, please? Thank you. I forgot where I was at. Oh yeah, Reese, he came over and he gave me his phone number, and I called him. And he took me to 3 meetings a day for like the first 9 months. And then Tara got sober, and Tara started hanging around, and he started hanging around with Tara, you know. And then me and Josh Davis were teasing Tara because she worked at Promises on Malibu, and she would sell crystal meth to the people there, but she was supposed to be working there. But I learned a pretty good lesson from Reese that time, and he told me and Josh Davis, he said, you know what, Tara's my friend, and I don't care what she does. If you guys keep talking about her, I'm going to sit at another table. I'm like, oh. So I kind of learned it's not cool to kind of talk shit about people, even if it's true. It's true. I wonder if she's probably like under a bridge in Hollywood somewhere. But yeah. Oh, look, all the phoners are leaving. Thank you. Anyway, I'm sorry. I got a thing. I have a sign in my house, and it says no cell phones. Be here with us now, right? It's an hour out of our life, an hour to give us that one more hour of insurance toward our sobriety. So why would I want to be playing crazy Candy Crush or something? I mean, it's so irrelevant in the scheme of my whole life, do you know? And, the passing parade, it's part of the passing parade, that kind of thing. She's going to be sober a long time. You are. You are. Yeah, so there's that. And then there's the whole, God. When I did my fourth step, I had all this stuff on there, and I guess we all know that the fourth step has to do with 3 little compartments. Do we all know that? It's not just the thing on 64 or 5. It's your list of fears, and then the sex inventory. Oh, all the guys in the parks in Hawaii, all the guys in the bars in Hawaii. But when I did my 5th step with Margot, because Reese kept telling me, kept introducing me to all these women. And I was like, Reese, you're my sponsor. That's life. You're my sponsor. You're my sponsor. And so I finally asked Margot because, I have issues. I have mommy issues. I don't like my mom, blah, blah, blah. So I finally got Margot. And when I went to go do my 4th step with her, she was white, white lady, white woman. And she made me some kind it was worse than jail food, man. It was white bread with some kind of a canned beef, shaved, poured over the gravy. And I was like trying to be polite, and she was my neighbor. And I'm reading her, pouring my heart out to her, and she's clipping coupons. She's clipping coupons so she can buy seeds and have a magazine. And I'm thinking, doesn't she know I'm bearing my soul? This is real life here, She don't care. And then many years later, I thought, oh my God, I just felt a thing of sweat go down my leg. Anyway, it's hot in here. You guys need some air conditioning. I thought, a few years later, I thought, you know what? Her doing that, it kind of takes all the poofiness out of that big, dramatic 4th step that I've just got to pour my heart, because in the long run, it's all the stuff that's been spinning around in my head anyway and making me mad and making me want to do this and making me have a resentment and making me want to act out and making me want to act sideways and do all this weird shit that I don't even know why I'm doing it. So if I get it all on the paper and I give it to this, and it doesn't even matter, What matters is that I see what my part is and I just try to do better in the future, do you know? And on that list of fears, I remember I feared I would never be married again because I was the worst wife ever. I was a bad wife. Anyway, I had a fear that I would never have a child because I had killed 3, maybe 4 babies. I don't even know because I was in a blackout from for 14 years, just in and out. I don't know the sequence of where I lived. I don't know this. There's just so much of my life that I don't remember, So many times I wake up and it's like, San Francisco? I thought we were going to Hawaii. It's fucking cold here. All I have is bathing suits, And I'm here with my best friend Kim, her boyfriend. Me and him are in something. Kim, we're gonna go get some tuna for the cat. See you later. And I wake up in San Fran or Tijuana. I always went to Tijuana. That was awesome. But I had a fear that I would never have a child, because I did that, And I had a fear that I would have to choose between a metal shopping cart and a plastic shopping cart. Because when I got here, I was homeless. And I think those were the most predominant ones that I remember. It was a long time ago. And then the beautiful big book of Alcoholics Anonymous tells me, well, actually, who told me was this awful girl who was my sponsor at one point. She stole my boyfriend, so she got drunk, but this is what happens when you fuck with me. And she told me, you know what, Lucy? You know what your biggest defect of character is? I said, no, I don't know what any of my defects of character are. That's why I have you. And she said, your biggest defect is that you don't trust God. And I thought, God, she is so fucking profound. How could she think so? And then she stole my boyfriend. He looked 18. But anyway, I'm going to leave it there with all this stuff going on in the world today. But it says that in the beautiful big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, around the place where we read about doing our fear list, it says, you know, that we have all these fears because we don't trust God. Do you know? And I've had so many things and moments in my life that I notice that, you know what, I trust God, where like something crazy's going on, and I'm like, oh, it'll be okay. And the person with me will go, God, aren't you la la la? And I'm like, I think to myself, oh my God, I trust God. It's going to be okay. It's going to be all right, you know? And that's, you know, don't leave 5 minutes before the miracle. You know, I think that's one of the miracles of Alcoholics Anonymous is. I think another miracle of Alcoholics Anonymous is, I think the biggest miracle of Alcoholics Anonymous is that when we get to, and I know several of us do, when we get to live in the fact that we never have to drink again, and that we never will drink again because we have recovered. And I've met several people in Alcoholics Anonymous who don't buy into the, you know, because, I mean, you can go to a lot of meetings and hear a lot of shit. But if you read the beautiful big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, it's a very positive and empowering program. And here's another piece of sweat dripping down my fucking leg. And, sorry. Maybe I should have wore underwear. I mean, I have underwear. No, I have underwear, but it's a different kind. Okay. But anyway, so that fear list that I had, it did turn out that I'm wearing underwear, okay? Like it would even matter. Anyway, what happened was I was in a meeting. I had like 8 years, and I'm sorry if I embarrass you. This dude came into the meeting, and he was wearing shorts, and he had like super nice shoes on, and when he talked, his voice was like real buttery, and he was very, very regal. And I called my sponsor that night. My sponsor was Navy Dawn. Navy Dawn was in the Navy when they had those big copper head things that they put on their head, and then they snap it onto their thing, and then they have big giant boots that they could barely even walk in because they're so heavy, and then they drop them in the water and they just drop down. And he was Navy Dawn, and I called my sponsor that, and I'm like, Dawn, I can't stop thinking about that dude at the meeting. Remember, he was sitting on the corner of the table. And Navy Dawn goes, well, Lucy, just tomorrow, ask him if he wants to go have coffee. And I'm like, okay. And so I went up to him at the noon meeting, and I said, hi. I was wearing a tennis skirt with, it was the herringbone, small herringbone, black and white, and I had a whiskey Jack Daniels. Yeah, Jack Daniels cut off, and Jack Daniels shirt that I won in a singing contest, and I go, my sponsor said I need to ask you if you want to go have coffee, and he goes, really? Who's your sponsor? I said, Navy Dawn. And he goes, oh, okay, and so we went to coffee that day, and then later on, and he didn't even buy me a drink. He fucking ordered his own thing, and I had to go get my own thing, which was weird. And I had sweat dripping down the back of my leg that day, too. It was super hot. It was in Spokane, Washington. And I had to go there because I had a nervous breakdown at 5 years sober. But anyway, that's a whole nother story. That's another meeting. And so we went and we had some drinks. I bought my own drink, whatever. And then the worker came out and she said, oh, you guys must be having a nice time. You were here when I started my shift, and now I'm going home, and you're still here. And I was like, yeah. And I'm thinking, he's so cute. And then we just kept talking on the phone. And then, but that night, I called Navy Dawn, and I said, I can't go with that guy. And he's like, why, honey? And I said, he's only got 3 months, and I had 8 years. And I was on our old ideas had to be smashed. I would say things like, don't be a cripple fucker, put the big book down and step away from the newcomer. And if I saw a guy talking to a new girl, I would be right in the middle of them. And I had a big problem with 13 stepping. And then this dude comes in, and you know what? Our old ideas had to be smashed. So I told Navy Dawn, and he goes, I said, he's only got 3 months. I thought, I'm gonna have to climb off of my soapbox. And he said, well, God damn it, Lucy. Oh no, that was Margot. He said, Lucy, I was not gonna let Karen stick around here for a year for all these vultures to get a hold of. You go ahead and you go with him. And I'm like, I'm under sponsor direction. But see, now you guys, you may not know me, but you have met me, and you know more about me than maybe a whole bunch of people after this little debacle. So the odds are very much against you, because it's like a 1 in a billion that someone, boy meets girl on AA campus, as per the 12 and 12. And unless they were spiritually, mentally, and emotionally compatible, it's going to be a shit show. I'm paraphrasing. And so he tried to get away one day. We were in front of a restaurant, and he said, no, this isn't a, yes, get in there. And, it's all good. And so I love you. And so that whole fear that, and that's why I don't believe in karma. I mean, I know there's a Buddha, and I like incense and all this other shit, but I don't believe in karma, because the things that I did on my way here, I'll never forget a little Spanish girl when I used to go roller skating. I was, 12 or whatever. I beat her fucking head in the ground, because I didn't know her, but they said, go get her. And I just went and pummeled her. I ran people over. I threw cans through people's windows. I stole 3 things out of every store in Palm Springs in one day, and got chased. And I mean, I am not a picture of karma. I am a picture of God's grace and a miracle of Alcoholics Anonymous, because my husband and I have been married for 16 years, and we have a 16-year-old. How do you figure that out? We've been married 6 years, and we have a 16-year-old. So something happened. And do you know that our child, his name is Montgomery, and he is so beautiful, and he's so awesome. And that's not karma, because if karma was real, I would not have Montgomery, and I would not have my husband. But Alcoholics Anonymous is real. And when I live my life as close to humanly possible as the way that Alcoholics Anonymous gives me the clear-cut directions to do, my whole life takes a whole different trip than what I was on before I got here. And actually, it just came to my mind. Do you know that Montgomery has a metal shopping cart in his bedroom? The hell? I don't know if I'm liking that. Maybe we should talk about that. Does it say 20 till? What? Oh, 5 till. Yeah, well, you know, whatever. I haven't talked to my sponsor for about 2 weeks, because last time I talked to her, me and Cliff had some little whatever, and I called her and she said, do this and do that and do this, and I did all that and I did all that, and we've been doing all that, and everything feels pretty good, you know. And but I was also, besides doing that, I was supposed to write out a Forrest Gump, and I was like, I'm so fucking sober. Why am I going to do that? So so I keep telling myself, I got to get that. I mean, it's going to take me 5 minutes, but I just don't have time. It's like, I just don't have 10 minutes to put that light on my face for the hookah light. And it's like, but I want to talk to her so bad. That might be a reason why they make you do all those little assignments, is to make them call you. So I'll do it, whatever. I just don't want to bring up all those resentments. Yeah. But I think today my life is really good, and except for when the suggestion of getting a job comes up. But other than that, everything is perfect. I wake up in the morning, and my husband usually pretty much every day puts a love letter there for me. Turn your fucking phone off. And then and my coffee's there, and sometimes my coffee's cold because he gets up so early and I don't. And his sponsor, when he told his sponsor he was going to go out with me, his sponsor said, all his sponsor had to say about me was, oh, okay, well, she doesn't sleep. I still don't sleep very much, but that's fine. I blew my voice out last night because I'm a total rocker. I have a band now, and you know, I used to get drunk and sing karaoke and fall off the stage and everything, and sleep wherever. And now it's like I go do it. I think we play like every weekend. We play 3 times this week. And I'm playing with awesome people. Nobody has a drug or alcohol problem, and it's all the difference in the world. And everything is just so awesome, you know. And if you're new to Alcoholics Anonymous and everything's not totally awesome yet, I'll tell you what somebody told me when I first got here. Because a lot of people say, all you get is sober. That's all you get. Or they'll say something, you know, along that line. But somebody told me, you know what, Lucy, if you get sober, your life is going to be so bitchin'. And one time when my sponsor, Reese, my very first sponsor who I spoke to on my birthday, and he sang me happy birthday a couple days ago, 28 years later. One day I couldn't pay my electric bill, and I had a very small unit, like a room with a small kitchen and a teeny bathroom. And he parked outside and he wrote me a check, and he handed me that check, and I felt so dirty and insecure. But I had to take that check because I couldn't pay my bills. And it was in my first year. And he knew what I was feeling. And he said, he held up his keys and he said, Lucy, one day this is going to be the key to your home. This will be the key to your back door. This will be the key to your nice new car. And this will be the key to a meeting somewhere in town. And everything's going to be okay. It's going to be just fine. I promise you. And I took that check and I went in and I passed by my velvet purple skirt that bastard neighbor threw acid on, and it was fucking spotted. And paid my bills, and he said, Lucy, in this program we pay it forward. And I've had that opportunity to do things for other people. And it feels totally awesome. And I've seen that face that I had when Reese was helping me, of just humiliation and whatever, But just like he knew, I know that everything is going to be okay. You just got to keep doing the basics. It's always doing the basics. It's always talking to people. It's always going to meetings. It's always doing the writing, I guess. When I was 8 years sober, I threw away 8 trash bags of writings because I used to write every day and night. And I had to write before I called my sponsor so I'd know what to talk about. And I'll leave you with this, just in case any of you are annoying anybody at your meetings with your mommy's daddy and your probation officer and your counselor and all your other bullshit. What you can do before you go to a meeting is you can open up the beautiful big book of Alcoholics Anonymous or the 12 and 12 and read a paragraph, and read that paragraph 3 times. And the first time you read it, think, what did I just read? What was that about? And you'll probably think to yourself, I have no idea what I just read. And then you go, okay, everybody, shut the fuck up. We're going to read this again, and then you read it again. And then you think, what did I just read? Does that have anything to do with me? Does it pertain to me? Do I have a question about it? Does it remind me about something in my life? And then you read it again. And then when you get to the meeting, don't bore us to tears with your probation officer, what your so-called counselor said, what your house manager's doing, or any of the little bitches in your house, because we don't care. Save it for your sponsor. Come in and talk to us about what you've learned in the beautiful big book of Alcoholics Anonymous, because what will happen is you will begin to take all that in, and your life will change, and you won't even know it until you notice it and go, fuck, I would have just slammed a chair over that guy's head, and I didn't. I'm so sober. Anyway, I really appreciate your attention, and I wish the best for all of you, and 100% of us can stay sober. It's the 100% that do it that gets to stay sober. You just got to do it, and it's not that tough. Cheers.